As someone who grew up in a single-parent household, my childhood experience was quite difficult. My parents were not happily married and they often argued over trivial matters. My father was a short-tempered man who often lost his temper without any reason. I would often feel very scared because I didn't know when he would explode. Later, my father seriously injured someone in a confrontation, which led to him being put in jail. My mother chose to leave my father, but for me, the decision was not easy. It was a very big blow to me. I also couldn't understand why my father would act that way, and it left me frustrated and confused. All of this had a profound effect on my perception of marriage. I have a lot of fear and anxiety about marriage. I didn't want to repeat the pain my parents had experienced, and I didn't want to sacrifice my happiness for a relationship. I had my first boyfriend while in college. At first I was reluctant towards him, but his sincerity and persistence eventually impressed me. We went through a lot during this time and our relationship became stronger. I love my boyfriend very much, which is something I have never felt before. He is a very considerate person. We have a lot in common, we like the same things, and have similar ideas. I envision a future where I hope we can spend our lives together. I believe our relationship can stand the test of time because it is based on sincerity and mutual understanding. In the third year of our relationship, I inadvertently found out about my boyfriend's cheating. That night, my boyfriend was taking a shower when I found a text message from a strange woman on his phone. When I opened the chat log, I found out that they had been dating for some time. This fact broke my heart and I felt like my world had caved in. I was so shocked and disappointed that I couldn't imagine why he would cheat on me. I wanted to find him and set the record straight. I wanted to know why he would do such a thing. When I told him about it, he acted calmly, as if he didn't feel guilty. Finally, he proposed a breakup. When he told me about this decision, I felt my heart twist in pain. I wanted to end it all, because I couldn't trust him anymore and couldn't stand the hurt he had caused me. The more I thought about it after my boyfriend left, the sadder I got. I wanted to end it all. I took a box of cephalexin, and then I drank half a bottle of rum. At that time, I was very depressed and my whole being was in an unstable state. I was constantly crying and throwing tantrums, and my mom noticed my unusual mood when she got off work. Mom was so nervous that she immediately called the emergency number. She then laid me down on the bed and tried to stabilize my mood and breathing. A short time later, I was rushed to the hospital. Before I arrived at the hospital, I was completely unconscious. When I opened my eyes, I found myself lying in a hospital bed surrounded by the glow of fluorescent lights. I saw a doctor dressed in white. He was intently looking at the information on top of the computer. I looked to my right and saw my body. I was surprised to find that my body was no longer that of a healthy young man. My skin was so pale that it was very difficult to breathe normally. I felt like a lifeless, empty shell of my body. At this time, I felt a deep sense of fear and helplessness, not knowing whether I would be able to recover from this state. Suddenly, I appeared in a darkness. I felt my soul being pulled by an invisible force that seemed to be taking me in a certain direction. I couldn't see anything around me, only a pitch-black nothingness. As I was pulled forward, I began to feel an endless sense of fear and oppression. My heart was filled with a sense of foreboding, as if I was about to face something terrible. A huge door appeared in front of me. The door was inlaid with fiery red gems and emitted strong energy fluctuations. By the door stood two tall dark creatures with wings and sharp claws. their eyes revealing an evil aura. The door slowly opened, and the moment I walked through it, I saw a sight that completely broke me. I had arrived at a place of unparalleled horror. This was hell. All around me was a sea of fire, and the air smelled foul and burnt. Everywhere were those dark creatures, with cruelty and evil glinting in their eyes. I felt my soul was firmly bound in chains, unable to move freely. I screamed in pain, but the creatures around me didn't seem to care about my presence. They went about their business. I collapsed helplessly to the ground, my screams fading into this hell as if it would never end. My fear gradually turned into despair, feeling trapped in this dark place from which I could no longer escape. I tried to find a way out, but no matter where I went, I felt like I was always in the same place. It was as if there were countless hands grasping me, trying to drag me into the abyss. In the darkness, I saw some blurred figures, which kept twisting and distorting. They were emitting a suffocating stench, as if they were the scent of death. Hell was full of pain and suffering. I saw the sinners being whipped and roasted in the fire, and their pain was heartbreaking. My soul was wrecked, but I would not give up. I began to call on the name of God. That was my last hope in hell. As I was praying, I saw a blue light flash by. I saw a pillar of light fall to the ground. I heard a voice say, "It's okay, I will save you." I saw an angel. The angel said, "We don't have time, we must go quickly." They took me into the pillar of light. The movement and the light made me feel a little uncomfortable, so I closed my eyes for a while. Sometimes I got curious and opened my eyes every once in a while. When I opened my eyes, I saw a huge staircase in the sky. I saw an old man holding a cat and walking up the stairway. At the end of the stairway was a gate. I knew that was the gate to enter heaven. I saw a lot of people standing in front of the gate to heaven. Most of them were dressed in white, with happy smiles, and looked very happy. I saw them hugging each other and blessing each other. They were all waiting for a signal that would let them pass through the gates of heaven and enter the eternal world. I knew that this was my true home. I also began to look forward to seeing my deceased loved ones. It was at this time that the angel stopped me. He told me that I could not go in just yet. Then, he took me to a beautiful lake. The water of the lake was very clear. There was an island in the middle of the lake with trees growing on it. There was a patch of flowers blooming around the lake with a faint fragrance. There were several benches under the trees. The breeze blew against my cheeks, making me feel relaxed. There, I saw a man in a robe, about 40 years old, and to his right stood an angel with wings. I realized that he was Jesus. The angel asked me, "Why are you here?" I began to explain that I didn't think the world was fair, and I didn't want to be there anymore. The angel looked at me and said, "Who told you that this is a fair world? Each person experiences what they choose. Your time is not up yet, you have to go back." I refused his request. I wanted to stay here. Jesus looked at me, his eyes were full of love and tenderness, as if he could penetrate the depths of my heart. He said, "I know how you feel, I understand your pain and anguish. But you cannot stay here. Your time has not yet come, your mission has not yet been completed. You must go back." His voice made me feel very calm. I said, "I will go back, but I don't know how to face the person who hurt me. I don't know what to do." Jesus smiled and replied, "You need to learn to forgive and love. No one is perfect, and we must forgive others for their mistakes. It is not easy, but it is necessary. You will receive help and guidance in this area. Jesus went on to explain to me that heaven is a very safe place where souls will be protected and cared for in the most perfect way. In heaven, each person has his own place, and this place is determined by his behavior on earth. Jesus also told me that he made a covenant with God. As God's spokesman, he must fulfill this covenant. This covenant was made about the ultimate purpose and meaning of all life. Although it was not an easy task, Jesus was the one who had to fulfill it because God believed that he could help souls to accomplish this task. I have to go through some difficulties and challenges that are meant for me to grow and progress. I cannot run away from the challenges and responsibilities in my life. I have to face and solve them. For me, going back is not a very good thing. I told Jesus, "You can't watch people hurt me, you should protect me." If I was going back, I wanted him to take care of things. He looked at me and said, "My child, I cannot cause pain to others, I can only heal those who are hurting." Jesus asked me, "Do you know why I saved you from hell?" Although I didn't know the answer, I knew that the angel was sent by Jesus to save me. I realized in that moment that Jesus had been there for me all along. After I listened to his words, I understood the true meaning and significance of life. He looked at me and smiled, and then nodded his head. I knew I had to go back to earth to continue my journey. He told me that I could always pray to him and he would give me guidance and support when necessary. Then, he and the angel disappeared. As I was preparing to return, I saw a strange phenomenon. In the darkness, I saw a pair of bright eyes. They were like two stars that shone in the darkness. These eyes illuminated my way forward, and I knew that I was not alone. Although darkness still enveloped me, I was filled with courage and hope within. I knew that Jesus was always with me. As I returned to my body, I felt my heart beat. When I first came back, my heart was full of confusion and fear because I couldn't understand what this experience was really about. My mother didn't believe my story, and that made me feel alone and lost. I knew what I was going through, and I believed that God was always watching over me, and that he would help me through it. I was hurting so much inside because of this relationship. But, I knew I needed to change. As time went on, God healed my inner wounds, and made me believe in love and marriage again. I met a guy, and we were attracted to each other. I wasn't sure if I should be with him. However, when he confessed his feelings for me, I accepted his feelings. We soon got married. Soon after, we welcomed our first child. I felt very happy and grateful to God for giving me the opportunity to experience the joy of motherhood. In 2012, we welcomed our second child. I didn't believe in God at first, but he kept an eye on me. He helped me through the difficulties and healed my inner wounds. I am thankful to God and to this experience for making me the person I am today. In August of 2011, my father fell and injured himself at home. My husband and I decided to take my father into our care. Although we were in a very tight financial situation at that time, we felt that family was more important than anything else and could not leave my father alone to face difficulties. Although he did not have any broken bones, he suffered injuries to his back and arms and needed regular medication and rest. On the way home, my husband and I discussed how we could arrange our time so that my father could be better cared for. We finally decided that I would take a month off work to stay home and take care of my father. It was a very difficult time for us, and we had to keep a tight rein on expenses. I also had to take care of the children's school and life. Although I felt very tired at times, I knew that this was what we should do. My husband and I always encouraged my father to face life positively and keep a positive attitude. One morning, I was going to the hospital to buy painkillers for my father. I arrived at the hospital quickly. I purchased the painkillers at the hospital. At the supermarket, I bought some more food and daily necessities. But on the way home, an accident happened. A car broke down and stopped on the highway. The car in front of me started to slow down. I put my foot on the brake and slowly started to slow down as well. I looked in my rearview mirror and saw a large truck approaching me. The truck was going very fast and I was very scared. I tried to move to the left, but it was too late. At the moment the truck hit me, time seemed to stop. Suddenly, I began to feel a special feeling, a feeling of being surrounded by love. This feeling became stronger and stronger. My panic had been replaced by love. I felt embraced in a way that I had never felt since I was a child. Imagine someone who loves you deeply. Now multiply that feeling by a factor of 10,000 and maybe you can feel that feeling. At the time I felt this love. I also felt a powerful energy around me. I can't describe the form, but I felt that this was God. I know that He loves me deeply. No matter what I do, He will always love me. A very peculiar connection was established between me and God. In that moment, there was no separation between me and God. I knew that I was accepted by God. When I saw God, I felt an overwhelming shock in my heart. When He spoke to me, I heard the most pleasing voice in the universe. It was a voice that could heal the heart. The look in His eyes made me feel safer and warmer than ever before. All my worries and pains disappeared in this moment. He helped me look back on my past life. I saw the good things I had done and the mistakes I had made. Once I got into an argument with a close friend and I said something extremely mean and hurtful. When I look back on that moment, I feel a great heaviness in my heart because I realized that I had caused him harm. God did not rebuke me. He said, "My child, I know your heart. But you must know that I love you and I will always love you no matter what mistakes you have made." I felt a strength that I had never felt before welling up inside me, making me believe that I could be better. I got the answer in His eyes that punishing myself did not make me better. When the life review was over, He explained to me my mission on earth. I was amazed after hearing His words. All of us are very important to God. He told me that everyone's life on earth would be different and that anyone's life experience is very important. I asked Him, why do I have such a father? I didn't have a happy childhood, and He told me, you have to experience something to learn to grow and move on to the next job. I understood that the earth is like a school. When we finish school, we all have to take a final exam. That is, a review of each person's life, and then we can graduate and go home. Everything becomes so meaningful. I began to understand the meaning of life. Life is not a simple journey, but a journey full of challenges and growth. During this journey, we must experience many difficulties and setbacks in order to become better people. These experiences make us who we are, and it is this growth and change that makes our lives meaningful. The meaning of life is not in what we have, but in what kind of person we become. Only then can we become better people and win inner peace and happiness. Here, I also met the relatives who passed away. They all looked very young. They were all wearing a white robe that looked very comfortable and soft. This robe seems to be made of some special material. The robe gave off a soft glow, making them look even more special. Everyone was smiling and looked very happy and content. I saw my grandmother, she was smiling and walking towards me, she looked so young and beautiful. Her dress was embroidered with a beautiful rose that looked like it had been sewn by hand. I also saw my grandfather, who looked like a gentleman. He was holding a thick book in his hand. I could feel that he was very peaceful and calm inside. Beside them, there were some other people. I couldn't identify them, but I could feel their love and peace. They all had a unique light in them that made me feel completely included and accepted. In this place, I felt at home. Their eyes were filled with tenderness and love. The light from them illuminated the space around them and made me feel very calm and relaxed. They were so real, it was as if they were always there for me, separated only by an invisible barrier. Seeing their current state, I knew they were better off than before. When I met my grandfather, I felt very guilty inside. He had died of a sudden heart attack and I hadn't had a chance to say goodbye to him. I remember my grandfather as a kind man who was always able to answer my questions. During the time he was about to leave, my relationship with my family became strained. My grandfather smiled at me and I felt his love and comfort. I said to my grandfather that I regretted not spending more time with you before you passed away, and I was sorry. Grandfather put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, you have to understand that we look at relationships differently here than we do on earth. Here, we focus only on the spiritual level of love and respect." My grandfather's words touched my heart so deeply that tears began to well up in my eyes. Grandfather also told me many things about heaven. In this moment, I felt a deep sense of peace and happiness. Although his time on earth had ended, our love and relationship would always continue. My grandfather also told me that the most important thing in this world is love. Love is not only a feeling, but also an action. He told me that in heaven, all people love each other and there is no negativity, only peace and joy. He said that the most important thing in this world is to learn tolerance and understanding, to love yourself and those around you. I know that I have done many wrong things and hurt my family and friends, but I also know that there is still a chance for me to change. Our conversation made me re-examine myself and made me appreciate life more, to try to be a better person. My grandfather gently patted my hand and said he always loved me too. Finally, God asked me, "Do you want to stay or go back?" Although I was very eager to stay here, I knew I had to go back. I didn't want to leave my life with regrets. So, very reluctantly, I replied, as much as I wanted to stay, I knew I had to go back. God gave me a warm hug. I felt his love, and it made me even more determined. I said goodbye to my grandfather and the rest of my family. They walked me to the door of heaven. Grandfather took my hand again and he said, "Remember, we are with you whenever you are." I shed tears and expressed my love and gratitude to him and the rest of my family. Finally, I turned to God and said goodbye. He smiled and said, "I will always love you, wherever you are. I will always be there for you when you need me." I thanked him and then turned and left heaven. Suddenly, I was back in the real world. My hand was still clutching the steering wheel. In the back of my mind, a voice appeared. It told me to take my foot off the brake and push the gas pedal to the floor. I didn't understand it at first, but as the voice grew stronger, I began to act on the instructions. Then, I hit the car in front of me, and it traveled forward some distance with its inertia. The big truck behind me also stopped. I sat in the driver's seat and kept my arms around myself, because I didn't want to lose the love of God. I hoped it would give me strength and courage. I didn't know how long it would take for the doctor to arrive on the scene, and the wait seemed long. My mood became more and more anxious. As the doctor opened the car door, I felt God's love begin to fade away. The doctor began to examine my body, and he was surprised to find that I hadn't suffered any injuries. I was also very surprised. I wanted to tell the doctor about what I had experienced, but I could not put them into words. It was clear to me that God had been watching over me. After going through that car accident, I have a different perspective on life. I knew my mission on earth and decided to appreciate every moment of my life more. I put a picture of myself above my bed and remind myself every morning that I am a child of God. This gives me the strength and courage to face the challenges in my life. When I am in a difficult situation, I stop and think about what to do next, because I don't want to hurt anyone else. Although I'm not perfect, I try really hard to do the right thing. In the year after the accident, I experienced a lot of difficulty and pain. I often wondered why I stayed in this world. But, looking back on that experience, I learned a lot. When I see the sunlight coming through the clouds, sometimes I really want to go back there. I believe God is the light, and He keeps reminding me to remember how much He loves me, and that I will never be alone. One day, I will return to Him forever. Until I get back there, life becomes a lot easier by seeing every difficulty as an adventure.